Hello, I'm Bjorn, movie archaeologist, and welcome back to the Temple of Movie Reviews. I'm being entirely honest, I lost my undershirt. It's somewhere in my closet over there. I can't find it. Literally, I spent the last 30 minutes digging for it. I can't find it, so I just put the costume over my t-shirt. There's also a gigantic thunderstorm outside, so if you hear that more, it's because I'm in the middle of a gigantic thunderstorm right now. Speaking of thunderstorms, the Thunderbolts. What a transition, one of a kind. So I saw the Thunderbolts. Briefly, I'd like to explain my relationship to the Thunderbolts, because a lot of people who are watching this channel probably know that I write scripts, and I wrote a script for what I thought an MCU Thunderbolt movie should be about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and then I wrote a sequel to it about Sentry, before they announced that Sentry was going to be in this movie. And we're going to forego all that discussion, but really I just want to talk about, I made another video called Why I Didn't Think the MCU Thunderbolts movie would be good. And the reason I made that is because the cast they announced was a terrible Thunderbolts lineup, and I fight vehemently to that opinion. And I think that my opinion that the MCU Thunderbolts team would not be a good Thunderbolts movie was correct. I was absolutely right. Because this movie isn't a Thunderbolts movie, and it's not even trying to be. So that video was just completely irrelevant, because this isn't even trying to be a Thunderbolts movie, frankly, like at all, not even a little bit. And that's fine, because it's a good movie. It's just not a Thunderbolts movie. And I think the marketing has kind of made that clear as it's gone on. I think everyone kind of knows that in the back of their lizard brain. I won't explain what it really is if you don't know, because this is going to be spoiler-free, but it's a really good movie, and there's a lot of stuff to like in this movie, quite a bit. For one thing, I think this movie is one of the best teams that the MCU has put together. If I had to compare it tonally and how I feel about it to another MCU movie, I think the closest thing to it would be Guardians of the Galaxy 1. They're actually kind of similar movies. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 1 is obviously a better movie. But this movie has a lot of the same feeling to me. It's a kind of scrappy group of underdogs who are kind of bad guys coming together. And the vibe is sort of very similar to me. And so I think when you put it like that, the films are comparable, right? Like, they're comparable in tone. Another thing that Guardians of the Galaxy movies do so well, that I also think this succeeds in, is that they give the characters dark backstories. These characters are very flawed, and the movie isn't afraid to sort of delve into that. There's some dark scenes in this movie. There's some really dark stuff, specifically with Yelena, and we see some of her backstory, and it's the Red Room. This movie does a more effective job of making the Red Room horrifying than Black Widow does in its entire runtime. That movie is a joke now. You could have introduced Yelena in this movie, and she would be great, because she's awesome in this movie. John Walker is also in this movie. We get some looks at him. He's a very different character than Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I didn't understand why that was until about halfway through the movie, and then some things started to click with what they were doing. I think he's pretty good in this. I don't necessarily like what they've done with John Walker, but that's because I'm a purist for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier version. The unintentional brilliance that they accidentally made a really compelling character in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. He's still very good in this movie, but I feel like they're missing something from that. And I think, again, that's obviously because what they did in Falcon and the Winter Soldier was a complete accident. I think everyone could tell they accidentally made John Walker compelling while trying to make him unlikable. In this movie, he's still pretty likable, and he's still pretty fun. And I like what they're setting up with him in the future. There's some funny jokes with him. Also, I should mention, this movie is very funny. I'd say it's one of the funnier Marvel movies. The comedy feels very natural, and it's very bickery, very much like Guardians of the Galaxy is. The characters bicker with each other all the time, and that's very fun and endearing. I think the standout from this movie, though, and I think once you see the movie you'll really get it, is Taskmaster. Bizarrely, considering that Taskmaster was barely in the marketing material, she really makes an impact, and I think they do a lot to sort of course correct where that character went wrong in the Black Widow movie, which was a disaster, clearly. I think they actually do a really good job of fixing all the problems with her, and I think that what they've done is the right thing for that character moving forward. I think it's kind of what everyone maybe not wanted, because I think characters wanted that character to sort of go away. But I think they gave people what they didn't know they wanted by fixing, obviously, all the problems with Taskmaster. I think the absolute highlights from this movie, two characters stand out the most. Red Guardian, David Harbour's awesome. He's great. The character's super fun. I think that's about as spot on as you can get for that character. He's so likable. He binds the whole team together. He's very funny, but not in an annoying, quippy way. He's just funny for being funny. Like, he can say something very serious, and it becomes funny, but then he can also be very serious. There's a lot of range to that character. There's a moment in this movie where he's sobbing. It's pretty compelling stuff. He does a lot of actual heroics in this movie. It's been a long time since I've seen a superhero movie where someone saves a kid. That happens in this movie. I love to see it. I like my superheroes saving people. Thank you. I'm looking at you, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Shit-ass movie. I hate that movie. This movie... It's funny, the off-brand Captain America characters blows the actual Captain America movie out of the water. This movie is actually kind of about mental illness and depression. It dabbles in that, and it has a pretty good way of approaching that. I think it does a good job. I think it probably could have gone a little further, but I think for what it was and for the tone and the rating it was, this is about as good as you can get. Now to the actual standout of this movie. I don't know if this is a spoiler. I think they've shed it in the marketing material, but if you absolutely know nothing about this movie, maybe don't hear this part. But Sentry is in the film, and he's pretty great. I think Sentry in this movie is actually awesome. I think they did a really good job with him. When he's Bob, this guy Bob, he's likable. When he's Sentry, he's kind of terrifying. And when he's Void in certain parts of the movie, he's fucking scary. And it's actually really good. Their iteration of Sentry, although he's not actually on screen, like Sentry isn't actually on screen for very long. I think Void and Bob are both really good, and I love what they did with Sentry while he was on screen. I mean, Sentry, I'll be 100% honest with you. I'll just be 100% honest with you. Sentry is on screen for maybe 8-10 minutes, but he makes the most of that. He is really cool. He does a really good fight scene where he fights Thunderbolts, and honestly, it goes about as what you were imagining when you heard about the Thunderbolts fighting the Sentry character. It's really quite cool. And they have I know a lot of people were worried about like Taka no Jutsu being the way they defeat Sentry in this movie. And kinda, but not really. I think this movie does that the best I've seen it done, and I won't really go into what I mean by that, but this movie is good. I think it's pretty great. I think the characters are super likable. This is a really good, strong first movie for a team that no one has ever heard of. I think the decision they make at the end is a good decision, like where they take this franchise going forward. The after credits scene is batshit. I kind of love it. This is one of the first movies produced by the new Marvel when they fired all their writers. Like the second half of Daredevil Born Again and this, they replaced everyone involved with this movie early on and went a different direction. Then they had originally the Black Widow team on this, and apparently they fired them at some point and replaced them with a different team. If the quality of this is what and the last two episodes of Daredevil are what we can expect going forward, I suspect the MCU will start getting better, because this was a pretty good movie. I think this is one of my favorite MCU movies, probably top 10 for me. I liked it quite a bit. I thought everyone was really quite good. I look forward to seeing more of the Thunderbolts asterisk, and I like what they're doing with this, and I hope that the Fantastic Four is good. If the Fantastic Four is a good movie like I think it might be, then they're cooking. They're cooking over there, because this is a movie that takes some risks, actually. Not a lot, but it does take some risks, and it's pretty funny. I laughed pretty consistently through the movie. The action is really good. I didn't talk about that too much. The action is actually very good. It feels very violent and cool. The characters execute people. Now, I will say the ending gets a little third action CGI clusterfucky a little bit, but for the most part, I think the action is really solid. And there's some sequences in the third act that are actually kind of creepy and haunting. So, yeah, all in all, I thought this movie was really good. Thank you, Asher, for coming in and saying hello. If you want to see what I did with Thunderbolts, I hadn't seen this movie when I wrote it, so you can see like a completely different take. That's here, all that. I think the second one is my favorite script I've ever written, probably. And if you... what did you think about the Thunderbolts? Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'm very put together, as you can see. But thank you for watching, and I'm going to go look for more artifacts.